Hello, hello, and welcome to PD in your PJs. I'm Julie from Seesaw. I'm so excited to be here with you to talk about some clues and tips you can use for navigating Seesaw on your Chromebooks. I'm just honored that in the middle of your busy work week that you took some time out to join us for a quick PD session. I'm going to turn it over to Tricia here really soon, but just a couple of little facts about me that you might want to know. I'm on the teacher community team at Seesaw, but I was a high school ELA teacher for 18 years before I ventured into tech integration. I would love it if you could find me on Twitter and give me a follow. I'm at EdTechJulieJ. And of course, you can connect with our whole team on Twitter at Seesaw. Mostly, I just want to remind you that this particular webinar is all about using Seesaw on a Chromebook. And Tricia's going to have lots of advice and tips for you. But if you are in need of some info for how to create an account or how to set up a class, make sure you have watched the brand new to Seesaw webinar for your grade level. I included a link there for you. So when you get these slides later in your email, just click on this link so that you can open up the link for how to watch those webinars. I'm so excited to be turning it over to Tricia. She's come up with some really great ideas and tips for you tonight. How's it going, Tricia?
Oh, I'm great, Julie. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. And I'm just going to go ahead and accept this here.
Okay, I'll
And,
let you know when we can see it.
okay.
Okay, we've got your screen. There
Okay,
you go.
thanks so much. All right, I'm going to get going through this slide deck here, and we want to make sure that, okay, good. And there's Julie's introduction. Excellent. Yes, my name is Tricia Louis, and I'm PK2 through 12 Tech Integration. I guess my official title is Tech Integration Professional. So I'm the TIP at the Richland School District in Richland Center, Wisconsin. By the way, go Pack Go. Richland Center is located in the southwest corner of Wisconsin. We're about halfway between La Crosse and Madison, and yes, close to the Wisconsin Dells. So this is kind of my home area. I welcome anyone to follow me on Twitter at TA Lewis. I do good ed tech stuff all the time, just anything I see that's good. Chromebooky, iPad-y, Seesaw-y, whatever thing I can see that looks good, I like to share out. And you can also contact me through my website at tricialewis.com. That's kind of about me. I think we're going to get started because we have some really good stuff in here for you this evening. Now, you're going to notice that we have a clue theme tonight because I'm all about alliteration, and I think we had to go with Chromebook clues. So at first, if you want to be able to get to the slide deck later, you can find this slide deck at my bit.ly link here. It is bit.ly/Chromebook clues. And of course, I had to use a little bit of a clue and seesaw here on our card here for the slide deck. And again, that's bit.ly/Chromebook clues. And this will be in the show notes as well when we have the recording for this, so that you can get to the slide deck and be able to look at it later. Now, my first Chromebook clue for the evening is talking about my compact mirror trick. Now, I'm going to tell you something very interesting about this. I was contacted about doing this webinar, about a month ago. And all of a sudden yesterday in my time hop came up my little idea that I came up with this a year ago. And since then, really this idea, anytime I share it, people are like, no way. And it's actually like, yes way, it does work. So you're thinking a compact mirror and a Chromebook. Well, let me show you what it's all about. Okay, so there's a lot of information on this slide here, and I'm going to go over it, but I just want you to make sure that you know that I did all this information on a slide, so it gives you the step-by-step of how to do this. So you can kind of see that this hack is kind of worked its way through over the years, and it's really nifty. If you take a look at my clue number 1 card, you can see how this hack works. And I will show you and kind of go through these steps here. And while you're looking at this picture, maybe it'll make some sense to you. Now, your first step in order to make this work is to go to a website that's called webcamera.io/legacy. And the reason why it's legacy, it uses Flash for this. And we might as well use it while we can. Flash will totally die in 2020. So that's a couple years away. So we'll come up with another solution by then. And I always tell my students to be able to pin this website to their taskbar. So you can go ahead and pin that down. So you can always get to that website for later access. So that makes it really quick. And of course, you always want to make sure that you allow camera and microphone access for a recording site or a camera site to be able to work. And that's just right through your Chrome operating system. And then when you're on this site, you're going to click the gear in the upper left corner of the window, and there's something called a mirror mode. And that kind of makes sense because you're remembering you're using a mirror. So yeah, a mirror, it actually takes and reverses the image. So instead of, have you ever used a Chromebook camera and you notice when you show something up, everything is backwards and the writing looks backwards and you're like, if you use this, it will actually mirror the image. So I could have taken a little bit of a compact mirror and from our favorite store, the dollar store, and found this mirror, and I've used adhesive tape, or somebody kind of hacked my hack and said a rubber band. I'm not so sure about the rubber band in some classroom situations. That might get a little tempting, but it does work. And then you don't have to worry about using a piece of tape over again. And you put that on the back side, or you put that compact mirror over the top of the Chromebook camera, and it kind of comes down over the top of it, and it makes that reflection. Then I take a little bit of a whiteboard, just a cheapo buck whiteboard that I got, and I like the ones that have just a little bit of an edge on it because then it lifts it up. You can also maybe put like a manila folder or something in between your keys and that, but really it just kind of sets on top the keys, because if you ever looked at a Chromebook, the keys kind of just set in a little bit. So you're really not even smashing the keys when you do this. Once you're on the site, you press the red record button and you start your video. So what it's doing, it's reflecting that front-facing camera down to where your keyboard is at. And if you can take a look at the picture, you can see this is going on right over here in the corner, and you can see what I'm writing looks the same as on the screen. Now you can record the video and you can save it just like any other video that you can do, and then upload it to Seesaw. Now I'm going to show you a post that I did, and I posted to my Seesaw journal of what it looks like on the finished product. So hold on one second. Oh no, what's going on here? Let's see. There we go. And it's loading up here. And let's make sure it's nice and big. Good, looks good. And you're going to see that this is a recording I made.
All right, everybody, this is what it looks like when you record. I'm going to go ahead and take my marker and start to write. And you can see that it is showing up the correct way. And it will post that way as well, so that you can read what's going on. So this is a great way for kids to be able to show what they know on Seesaw on a Chromebook.
So that was my quick video that I did there. And you can see that I just started talking and I was able to write at the same time. So the possibilities for this are endless. You can think about it as using it for math. It could be used for penmanship skills. You could even use it almost kind of as a quasi document camera, and you could even place just another paper on top of the whiteboard, and they can use a regular pen or pencil, not necessarily having to use a whiteboard marker to write. It acts like that webcam, and teachers, you could use this as well. It makes all that great content for flip lessons. Did you know now that your Chromebook is like got a little webcam in it for just $1 with a mirror? I really encourage you to try this, because anytime that I show this hack to people, they're like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. Well, you never know where inspiration strikes, and I just was looking at my Chromebook one day, honestly a year ago, and this kind of came to mind. So we're going to make sure that you take a look at that Chromebook clue. If we're going to move on further into our presentation tonight, a lot of you, we love to use emojis inside of Seesaw. Emoji is another language. It is the hieroglyphics of the 21st century. And we want to make sure that our students can be able to use emojis on their Chromebook. Now, there are a few ways that you can do this. Now, our friends at Seesaw have shared a video of how to enable an on-screen keyboard on a Chromebook. And this is a YouTube video that's out there put out by Seesaw on how to enable this. It makes it like an iOS or an Android device where you can toggle between the keyboard of a regular keyboard and the emoji keyboard. If you look in number 1 here, it says the 3 different ways to do it. This is quite I think it's kind of a long way around to do it. Once you get it enabled, yes, it's there and you can do it, but sometimes getting through all these steps with your kids, it takes a long time to do. And honestly, I think my number 2 or number 3 ways to do this are actually a little bit easier. The one that I like the best, the number 2, and that's why I put the big stars beside it there, is that you can add on an extension, and the one that I use is called Emoji One. And Emoji One looks like a little bit of a unicorn when you see it in your area where you have all your extensions on your Chrome. Once you install that extension and you want to type an emoji, you just click that extension, and then you can search for the emoji that you want to use. So, that saves some time as well, so you don't have to scroll through them all. And of course, your most used ones will be right at the top. So if you use ones that are over and over again, you'll have quick access to those right at the top. And once you find the emoji you want, you click on it, and then you're going to make sure that you right click on it and then copy it. So you can do the right click and then to copy it, or Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, but Control C if you're on a Chromebook. And then Control V to paste it, or right click and paste into your Seesaw note. So you can always add your emoji that way. If you want another way, if your students aren't allowed to add your own extensions or all that kind of thing, because sometimes that works with your Google admin person, is you can use a website that's actually based on that same extension called Emoji Copy. Let me go ahead and click on that website so you can see how it works. So what's happening here is it's all going to load up all the different emojis that I would want to use, and it looks like it's just taking a little extra time to load this evening, but you can see that they're coming up here, and all of our emojis that we can use on our Chromebook here. And again, there's that search bar, and this is the same kind of search bar that you would have in Emoji Copy. Well, if you get to the one that you want, let's take this cute little puppy right here. We can go ahead and right click on that. And I'm on a Mac tonight, but it would be the same thing. We can actually click on that one, and it's going to be copied to the board, and we can use that. And once we get into a place where we want to put our text, we can paste it in. So any of these clues you can use to have emoji on your keyboard. Again, there is a way to be able to add this keyboard, on-screen keyboard, and you can toggle it back and forth just like you would on an iOS or Android device. But if you're looking for something a little bit easier, I would recommend the emoji extension or just a website called Emoji Copy. And there are several of them out there. This is the one that I use all the time on my items here, and that's the extension that I have to be able to use emoji. So our next Chromebook clue this evening is talking about Chromebooks and QR codes. Now, it's always mystifying to people about Chromebooks and QR codes because we only have this front-facing camera on a Chromebook, and sometimes it's kind of hard to think about using that. I'm going to tell you that, if you have your mirror installed from hack number 1 or clue number 1, that you can actually just put the QR code underneath the mirror that's reflecting down to the keyboard, and it will actually scan the QR code that way too. So, but how do you scan the QR code? So here it is. Now, this is talking about when you're scanning QR codes just for other websites and things like that. So remember, when your students are joining your Seesaw class via QR code, you want to make sure to use the QR code reader right from Seesaw. You don't need to go to these other sites to do this. That is within Seesaw. So there's kind of a couple different thoughts going here. If they're joining your class, you're going to have that QR code reader right inside of Seesaw to join the class. Remember, when you are doing things on Chromebooks, you always have to allow the camera to be able to use that access. And if you, for some reason, messed up and didn't get that, you're able to change that with no problem. But you want to make sure that you enable that camera access. Now, say you want to have your students go to a QR code just as a different QR code to a website or some other resource that you have. Maybe you have some audio content or video content. There's a couple different ways that you can be able to create QR codes and be able to read them as well. The first one that I like is this one that's called the QRCodeGenerator.com. And again, you want to go to the link and you want to make sure to allow the camera. And all you do is simply hold up the QR code in front of the camera on the Chromebook, and it scans it and it takes you to the resource. What I really like about this website is not only can you scan the QR codes, but you can create them as well. It's kind of a one-stop shop. Let me show you what it looks like quick here, just so you get a little look at that. So this is the QRCodeGenerator.com with all these dashes in here. So we can be able to not only put URLs in to be able to get our QR code, but we can actually have text. Kind of fun sometimes to be able to just to put text in for students to read. So this is where you could put that text in or the URL in, and it creates that code, and you could print it out or put it up on your interactive whiteboard or whatever for them. So you can generate them here. If you want to scan them, this is actually where you'd press the button here and the camera would turn on and you would hold that QR code in front of the camera. I'm not going to do that tonight because I truly am in my PJs tonight for PD and our PJs. So take my word for it that when you press this, the camera would enact and you can scan it. So that's one way to scan the QR codes. And again, if you use this site, why I like it is you can sign in and you can generate these QR codes and it saves them for you. So if something you want to use over and over and over again, it's not like you have to recreate it every single time. You have one-stop shop where the kids can scan it and where you can generate them. The other place is called WebQR that I found that's really neat. Why I picked these two things is that they were a very clean interface. There was not a lot of junk around them. If we look at this first one here, remember, not a lot of stuff here on this web page. Not hardly anything at all. Same thing when we go to WebQR. Let me go ahead and go to that link to show you. Again, this is going to go ahead and you can go ahead and scan this. Again, you want to make sure that you would allow that camera, and I'm not going to tonight. You can just hear my beautiful voice instead of seeing my beautiful face. And you would allow that, and you just hold up that QR code and let it scan there. You can also create them here as well, but you can't save them like you could on the other website. So that is a good way for them to scan those. Why I like this, take a look at the site. Not a lot there. Nothing for the kids to have to click on and move around with. That's why I like using a site like this. It doesn't have all that extra material on there. So that's WebQR. Again, so those are QR codes if you want the kids to do things in class. If they're joining your Seesaw class, so remember there is that QR code reader right inside of Seesaw that they can use. Just remember to allow that camera. Now, if you're a fan of Clue, have you noticed we have these nice clues that we've been presenting all the way along? And if you've ever known of the board game, did you know there was a movie too? And of course, we have to have one more bonus clue, like you would have the bonus endings in the movie Clue. Classic movie. Julie and I were talking about this, and we both loved it. I have lines that I could recite with my sister just like she could. And our bonus clue this evening is using something called a pen mouse with your Chromebook. Now, the pen mouse is a really cool find, and I have shared this with several people around at different ed camps and conferences and with our local teachers. I tell you, if I could have bought stock in this company, I'd be a rich woman by now. But what a pen mouse is that you can actually plug in this little bitty dongle, and it works on Chromebook, Mac, PC, no worries. There is no installation of any sort of drivers or softwares. You just plug it in and it works. So I'm going to take you to the link of the one that I chose. I hope I can get to it. It looks like it's being kind of dumb again this evening. Let's get there. And I got these on Amazon. There's a bunch of different flavors of these that you can get. You notice that I've purchased this item a few months ago and I have used it. This is what the pen mouse looks like right here. It has several buttons on the top of it. It has our left click right here on the top, our right click on the side. And what makes this even a bonus thing that you can use, it has the click wheel right here. Now, what this is for a whole 12, just a little over $12, is now you have a remote for slides as well. So if you have a large like TV in your classroom, but it's not an interactive whiteboard, you're always like, oh, I wish I could be able to draw on my screen. This is how you can do it. And of course, in Seesaw, we have that lovely draw feature. I don't know if you're like me, if you ever tried to use the trackpad on a Chromebook to draw something, it just doesn't work. It's the coordination there. It usually looks pretty bad, not like any artwork I would want to share. But by using this pen mouse, it's like you have the control of writing, just like you would like using your finger on an Android or iOS device, but on the Chromebook. And like I said, they're about $12 each. Every kid wouldn't have to have them. Maybe you could just have a few in your classroom or whatever. As teachers, I would highly recommend getting one. It's an awesome little device. And let me show you a quick video of that pen mouse in action. So this is going to be me. I'm using my phone to record this and to write at the same time. And you're going to be able to see that I have my Seesaw, create a drawing right on screen, and I'm using this pen mouse. And if you look at the right-hand side of the Chromebook, you can see the little USB dongle is plugged in there, very, very small. One of the really cool things about this as well, everybody out there, is you can use this up to 50 feet away. I showed this to my teachers at we had a little check-in service a couple weeks ago, and I was at the front of the auditorium and I started using it, and I walked halfway to the back of the auditorium. We're talking about a 700-seat auditorium, and it was still working. The only thing you have to be able to do is just write on a flat surface. We have that naturally. If you hold it in one hand, you can write on the other hand. And that's your flat surface. It could be a clipboard. It could be a student's desk. It could be a student. How fun would it be for the kids? Remember that old game where you draw out letters on the back of someone and they'd have to try to spell it? You could use the same thing here. So let me go ahead and show this video. And you can see there's the mouse. And I'm just writing against this on my desk. And you can see that I can pick the color and be able to draw on the screen. And simply that's my hand, and I'm just holding that down, holding that little left click down, and then able to draw on the screen as well. So that's a really cool thing to have there. Let me just show you one more time what it looks like. And it's just that little bit of a laser kind of on the end of it. Really easy to handle. Yes, right hand or left hand. You can use it for either one. And it's just really great to use. You can see that I got it plugged in my Chromebook. In fact, you can see I have my rubber band and my mirror attached there as well, going through all my hacks to make sure that it was working. And again, I just was able to write against the desk. I didn't have to have any special mouse pad or anything. I could choose the color that I wanted there on the right-hand side and be able to click and draw. Just like on an iOS or Android device. Kind of gives you a little bit more control over your drawing that you would do for on a Chromebook versus having that handheld device. So again, that's the pen mouse. Again, I got them on Amazon, and you can see the video there. What I want to say to everyone is thank you so much for joining us for this PD in Your PJs webinar. And I am going to go and give keyboard. Julie, how do I change it over to you so you can kind of wrap it up here?
Oh, you're good. Just stay where you are, and we're here for a few minutes. So go ahead and type in questions if you have them. Tricia has lots of tips and expertise to share with you. So if you have questions, type them in. I have a few waiting here, Tricia. That was awesome, by the way. I was smiling so big, and not just at the clue references, mostly because people were typing into the question box their appreciation and how much their minds were blown, even by your first tip, your Chromebook trick. Your compact mirror trick, people were typing in how excited they were to hear about that. So that was cool. You blew their minds right from the beginning. I'm going to go through. I know, right? For $1. I'm going to go through some of these and throw them at you, Tricia, and we'll see if we can get through them here in the next few minutes. Corey is talking about the emoji copy site. And, you know, anytime it comes up with teachers talking about emojis, they're kind of thinking about that middle finger emoji or the poop emoji or whatever seems not classroom appropriate. I'm assuming that that is just all of the emojis and it's not filtered specifically for use in school, right?
Absolutely, it is an emoji keyboard, just like any other emoji keyboard that you would have on any other device. I guess where that comes in is that's your digital citizenship lesson with your students. You know, is that the appropriate emoji to use? That's where that has to come in. And it's just like our little poo emoji. Now, the poo emoji is pretty darn funny, but maybe not the most appropriate thing that you'd want to put on an assignment for Seesaw. So we just have to have that discussion with our kids that yes, that it's there, doesn't mean that you use it. We have all the letters of the alphabet, but we don't spell certain words either. Just the same with
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm with you, Tricia. I used emojis. I'm a very emotional person, and I use tons of emojis in my classroom because I taught ELA and I taught high school kids, and they were super into that. And so we used emojis all the time. And, you know, I think if you establish certain expectations and norms, and like you said, you go over all of your digital citizenship, then I think you can kind of just put some parameters on that. But I just was clarifying that, you know, I don't think it's filtered out with, you know, only school appropriate ones. I think I know the answer to this one, but I'll throw it out there to you, Tricia. All the sites you showed us are free, right? The QR generators are free, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. I'm always a good thing for something free. If I have to pay for it, I do, but I rarely would look for the free thing first. Everything out there is just to be able to get to on any web browser. You might want to check with your network people just to make sure that it's allowed in a filter. Sometimes some things are goofy on how websites are classified for web filters, and you might not be able to get to it. So just work with your IT team at your school, and they'll be able to help you with that if you explain why you need to use it. But yep, everything I showed you was free except for the dollar little mirror and the pen mouse if you chose to buy it.
Perfect. You have so many compliments coming in, Tricia. Joy, thank you for being here. Joy saying it was totally fascinating tonight. Amanda loves the pin mouse too, just like me. I'm gonna maybe think about putting that on my Christmas list or getting it for my kids for Christmas. It's so awesome. Thank you, Denise. I'm glad you were here tonight. Would you mind showing us about the mirror again?
Sure, I
If
can do that.
you want to show that video real quick, and of course, you guys, these slides are coming your way, but the mirror trick is so good. I think we could take another minute to show it. Thank you, Christine, for asking.
Yeah, this is, really, inspiration kind of came from my friends at Osmo. I don't know if anybody out there knows what Osmo kits are. It's this cool thing where a mirror attaches onto an iPad, and it's a way to interact with an iPad without touching it. And I don't know, I was just working with some kids on some Osmo kits, and it just flashed to me. I'm like, I wonder if I could make something like that for a Chromebook. And really, it was a piece of tape and a compact mirror. If you can recycle them, if you use makeup, you can recycle them or get some moms in there recycle ones. Won't even have to buy it. And then I'm using a rubber band this time, but any old piece of tape, masking tape, scotch tape, whatever, just something just to hold it on there. I like the blue painter's tape because it doesn't leave a residue too. And then when you show that in here, it just reflects down. So you can kind of see in the picture of where that's at if you look in that lower corner in the Chromebook clue. And I'll go ahead and throw this video up again so that you can see it. That's being goofy, why it doesn't want to do that every time the first time. So again, I just did this through that website, that webcamera.io/legacy. And then just like any other Seesaw video, I just uploaded it in there. Let me go ahead and show the video.
All right, everybody, this is what it looks like when you record. I'm going to go ahead and take my marker and start to write. And you can see that it is showing up the correct way. And it will post that way as well so that you can read what's going on. So this is a great way for kids to be able to show what they know on Seesaw on a Chromebook.
And you can see at the end of the video, I just lifted up the Chromebook to be able to tap my mouse to end the recording. That's the only reason why it was in there like that. And once you get that that mirror on there, I mean, it just stays. It's easy. With the rubber band, it's kind of nice because you can just leave the rubber band right on the Chromebook and slip the mirror in when you want to. You don't have to worry about tape. But, you know, rubber bands and kids aren't always the most cool mix. So I guess whatever works in your classroom for it to work. We were even thinking of maybe having our Project Lead the Way team build some sort of 3D printed like stand for it to be able to slide in there or whatever. It kind of took fire, and everybody that I showed, they just love it.
I have a couple of questions regarding the placement of the mirror. And you kind of talked about it maybe potentially having a stand. And some of you, Jennifer and Christine, who are asking about this, maybe you can reach out to Tricia later for more specifics. Jennifer's wondering, is the mirror at an angle? And Christine is wondering if you have any more specific steps about how to place the
I'm going to
mirror.
see if I can open up this image here a little bit. I'm going to go on, maybe I have my other one here. I wanted to see if I had my side view, and I don't seem to have it in there. So if you can kind of look at this picture, maybe this will help you a little bit more. I'll bring that one in here. What this is doing is it's kind of at an angle, but it kind of isn't at an angle. It's just enough when you put the back side of the compact is flat against the back of the Chromebook. And then this is here, you kind of play with the angle a little bit in order to get it to show. So when you get that angle just right, what it will do is you can kind of see the edges of the whiteboard. I'm just kind of going to bring it back here. You can see that I have this over the top here, and it doesn't show the complete whiteboard because my hand is kind of over the edge there. But this is like a whiteboard. It'd be the size of that small Chromebook size. It just fits right over the keyboard there. So once you get the angle just right, it just stays there. I've never had it. My El Cheapo $1 mirror, they just kind of hit where they're at is where they stay. I guess you just kind of play with it. Once you get that angle right, it just works and it stays there.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, that it's just trial and error, and you can place it where you want, and then you don't have to worry about moving it frequently or anything.
I have some other pictures that I'll be able to, if someone reaches out to me, I'd be happy to share it there. This one, if you look on the clue on the side here, you can kind of see the side view of it. And that kind of shows you the angle that I have there. I guess it would be about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little bit less. I'm not a mathematician, so you can kind of see that in there.
Okay, here's another good question, and I don't know the answer to this. Could you use 2 pin mouses or mice at a time?
I would suppose that you could, because it is just like a mouse input. But then again, thinking about it, you probably could not do that, not on the same device, because once somebody is moving with it, it'd be like if somebody was using a regular mouse and you were trying to use the pen mouse at the same time, it's not going to work. So I have to backpedal. It would be only 1 pen mouse at a time. But I've used it in far as like just even sitting at my desk. When I get tired of holding my hand over the regular size kind of mouse, I switch to that pen mouse, give my hand a little bit of a break, and it works the same way. And you've got the left and the right click there, and the click wheel on top is superb because you can advance through slides and all sorts of things. And you don't even need like a fancy presenter. You just use that pen mouse and you can click through it.
Perfect. I would say, Tricia, if you have a second, go ahead and put your contact info slide back up, because I think some people are going to want to make sure they can reach out to you. So if you want to put that up for a minute. I have the best question that just came in a minute ago, Tricia, and it's actually not a question, it's just a compliment, and probably one of the best things I've ever read in a question box. Lori is saying, these tricks are going to change the lives of some of our teachers. Thank you. And I thought that was a great one to end on. That's awesome. That's such great feedback, Lori. We appreciate it so much. And Tricia is awesome and has so many good resources and ideas to share. And I really think that that's like really powerful for those of you who are using Seesaw on Chromebooks, because in your head, you might have thought you had to have a tablet or an iPad to use Seesaw. And I think the things that Tricia showed tonight really should empower you, even if you're using a Chromebook, that you can do everything that everybody else is doing in Seesaw. And I think that's really like inspirational and empowering.
I'm just so happy that I share it, and usually it gets the same results. I get the little mind blown thing, or people go mic drop because they just can't believe
Yeah.
a $1 mirror and a piece of tape. And people are like, how did you come up with it? Honestly, like I said, I was just inspired by looking at something else and thinking, why couldn't I do that with my Chromebook? And it really just came about. In fact, when I tweeted out, and Seesaw kind of helped me there with a little bit, my tweet got 400 likes. I thought I was like Twitterati or something like that, someone so famous, because I had a $1 idea of how to use a Chromebook.
Hey, that's awesome. You seriously did go Twitter viral. That was awesome. And I love the way that hack has kind of morphed in the last year. I mean, and this is super helpful. I think that one is the one that people have super been interested in tonight, but I think the emoji tip too is a good one because sometimes, I mean, we get that question quite frequently in webinars and on social media, people wanting to use emojis, especially with some activities in the activity library, but not exactly knowing where to find those on a Chromebook. So I think you presented some really good workarounds for that too. Well, our question box has slowed up, so I think we're about to wrap up tonight, but everybody remember that the recording and the slides plus a PD certificate are coming your way in an email, and you should get that within a couple of hours. Take a minute to answer the survey when it pops up too, because we really do value your feedback. This was awesome. I loved it, Tricia. Thank you so much. And for all of you listening, join us again for another PD real soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.